area at 99, over 99%.
Well, but in the median, there's.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
that you're talking about. What's Beagle, Beagle or talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't look at it.
Which means Beagle beat.
Oh, I will look.
His numbers were good.
I imagine.
But wait to see what what's the report of the city council. Yeah.
They do great.
Yeah, then I need 7.
He'd be. You keep an eye on that list. Yeah.
Only by 1% of it.
It's right, it's right. Do you have a taser? Like, I do wonder. Starts with her say the face. So there's provisionals that just have to go.
She benefited from
Okay, that's.
That's a system. Oh, Larry. Morning, who do we have?
Kristen McLaughlin, you call.
Hi, Kristen.
Hello.
You should say if you call her. What's your name? That's pretty surprising. Who's pretty surprised? No, they'll be wrong, whatever the guess is. They're going Okay, good morning. It's 10 a.m. I ask you please rise if you're able for the pledge of allegiance and opening prayer before we begin the commissioners' public meeting. Dear Heavenly Father, we have a great deal to remember this week in honor. On Monday, we'll celebrate the United States Marine Corps on their 250th birthday. Marine Corps has served in nearly every conflict in U.S. history. For the brave men and women in the Marines, we say, hoorah, and thank them for their service. We're on Tuesday, we'll honor our veterans. There are an estimated 16 to 18 million veterans in the United States. You've created these men and women to be the best of society. They were called to serve and protect our great land. We would not have our freedoms without these outstanding men and women who stood tall for all of us. We thank them for their dedicated service. We ask you to continue and protect all servicemen and women that are active in duty that protect our freedoms. Lord, this past week, a few of our local fire departments had their annual banquets. We thank these dedicated men and women that leave their families at night, weekends, and holidays to help their fellow residents. They do with a sense of service and love for their community. They drop everything to help without receiving compensation because they labor out of love. Bless them for their service. We pray that we will unite now as a country and work together for the common good. Let's always honor our veterans each day by guarding and protecting the freedoms they have sacrificed for our behalf. Now we ask you to guide us in our meeting this morning. Please, we humbly bring to you this day. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. This time we'll convene our commissioners' public meeting and we'll ask for approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will need public comment on agenda items only at this time. Hearing none, any online?
Nothing online.
Okay, then we have proclamation that Commissioner Sortman is going to read today on behalf of two organizations in our town that are doing outstanding work for our community. So Commissioner Sortman, you'll read this.
Yes.
And we'll have both organizations talk afterwards.
This proclamation is for both the National Homeless Awareness Month, which is for two organizations, Code Blue Overnight Shelter and the American Rescue Workers. We have two separate, but they're both the same, so I'll just read this one. Whereas on any given day, over 12,000 Pennsylvanians are known to be homeless, according to the Department of Community and Economic Development. In Lycoming County, approximately 1 in 9 children experiences homelessness in any given year. Pennsylvania law aims to ensure basic rights, including educational access and support services, are available to those experiencing homelessness. And whereas many homeless individuals not in emergency shelters sleep on couches, in garages, sheds, backyard tents, and whereas the leading cause of homelessness is the lack of affordable housing. Our major contributing factors include mental health issues, addiction, criminal background, and economic hardship or poverty. And whereas according to the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, veterans make up nearly 11% of the homeless adult population in Pennsylvania. This one's directed right to Code Blue. Whereas Code Blue alerts for homeless individuals is a local emergency declaration issued when extreme cold weather conditions, such as temperatures at or below freezing, pose a significant risk to unsheltered people. This will alert shelters and outreach teams to provide additional resources. Just want to see if there's something also additional for. Let's say Code Blue. All right, I'm sorry, the American Rescues is also in here. Whereas some homeless shelters, such as American Rescue Workers, provide emergency shelter throughout the year, others, such as Code Blue Overnight Shelter, open their doors during the winter months, starting in January and running through March. Each shelter provides different services to the unsheltered, ranging from warm place to sleep to hunger prevention, financial assistance, and case management. And whereas, as of March 31st, 2025, staffed by 57 volunteers, Code Blue Shelter has sheltered over 350 men, women, and children aged from 1 day old to 79 years, filling 6,880 beds. It is staffed by 57 overnight volunteers, 2 men and 2 women per night. And whereas American Rescue Workers operates 3 shelters, each with a different focus, they provide shelter for approximately 69 individuals per night and 25,185 bed nights of lodging per year. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Lycoming County, claim the month of November as National Homeless Awareness Month and encourage all the citizens to support the efforts to sheltered and unsheltered and work together to end the homelessness, as this continues to affect many individuals and families, especially the most vulnerable of our community. Signed, the Lycoming County Commissioners, Scott Metzger, Chairman, Mark Sortman, Vice Chairman, and Mark Messina, Secretary.
Thank you, Commissioner. Soon, John, would you like to come up and say a few words?
I'll let him.
She delegates.
I was gonna say,
Well,
she's gonna let you speak.
there you go.
Which means if you want her to speak, she can speak.
Sue and I started Code Blue in 2018 and have spent many nights since then sleeping at First Church over on Market Street. We want to thank John and Bob from Veterans Grove, who really pulled this thing together and brought it to the attention of the commissioners. We'd also like to thank the Lycoming County Commissioners for recognizing the growing challenge of homelessness in our county, proclaiming the month of November as National Homeless Awareness Month, and for encouraging all citizens to support the efforts to shelter the unsheltered and work together to end homelessness, as this continues to affect many individuals and families, especially the most vulnerable in our community. Our all-volunteer Code Blue January, February, and March ministry is aimed at adding to and supplementing
the existing year-round work, professionally staffed programs offered by the American Rescue Workers, the YWCA, Sojourner Truth Ministries, Step, Daniel's Closet, Shepherd of the Streets, and others that provide services to those who are homeless. We don't want to duplicate the services offered by these organizations or enable homelessness, but rather we want to create an extension of their love and support for the least and the lost, recognizing that in many cases, those that we welcome have burnt their bridges with these other agencies. Our ministry is focused on getting our guests to the next step on their life journey, whether it's getting their shoes dry before they go back out into the cold, or finding a job or permanent housing, or one of hundreds of steps in between. Toward this end, we have formed a separate corporation known as Next Step Ministries of Williamsport Incorporated. We're currently seeking IRS approval as a nonprofit 501c3 organization. Our prayer is that we'll be able to establish a year-round, professionally staffed, volunteer-supported day center where those suffering from homelessness can shower, wash their clothes, receive rehabilitative services, and just be human while watching TV or hanging out with others. Just a place to be human, an attribute that many of those who have found themselves homeless have lost. Thank you again for your understanding of the homeless challenge in our community and for your support as we work together toward making a dent in this ever-growing challenge. Thank you.
Thank
And again, John and Bob, thank you for your effort.
Thank you, John Bob. Thank you, guys. Thank you. American Rescue Workers, like, come on. Morning.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Remby. Thank you for having us here to represent American Rescue Workers. As we observe Homelessness Awareness Month, the American Rescue Workers continues to do what we have done exactly precisely since 1917. We were officially founded in 1934. Many of you came to our 90th birthday party last year. We have records that show that Reverend Moorhart went back as far as 1917, doing the good work of feeding the needy and clothing and providing food and shelter and salvation to those who were down and out, just as Jesus commissioned us to do. Every single night, our 3 shelters provide 69 bed nights of safety and stability for men, women, and children. At Saving Grace, our 24 beds are full every single night. The building, once Pine Street United Methodist Church, was gifted to ARW for $1 and retrofitted through Act 137 funds, the Plankenhorn Foundation, and private donations. Since its dedication on February 14th, 2011, it has served as a literal lifeline for families in crisis. We are currently replacing the boiler with an energy efficient furnace on the women's side and installing ceiling fans to hopefully make it as energy efficient as possible. This is through the use of CDBG funds issued through the city. Next Wednesday, we'll host, as part of Homelessness Awareness Month, an open house at Saving Grace for invited guests and community leaders to see firsthand the impact of this shelter and the vital upgrades now underway. Saving Grace will celebrate 15 years in February of 2026. We decided to have the open house now this month because the upgrades are currently underway and we are eager to get them installed, hopefully before January comes around. It costs us about $4,000 a month to heat that building in the dead of January and February. Our Fresh Start program continues to help men rebuild their lives through structure, community, and steady work. The guys in the program are doing very well. We have 39 beds upstairs in our Fresh Start program, which is a men's long-term work therapy program. The men spend about 12 to 15 months with us, learning the soft side of working, building a schedule, building a budget, eventually working out in the workplace. Many local employers are very good to our gentlemen that are living with us. They're learning to deploy those soft skills that we teach them in our warehouse and our operations. They're earning income, they're learning job skills and regaining stability. This program remains a cornerstone of how ARW helps people move from crisis to independence, providing not only shelter, but purpose. Yesterday, I was in Dawn's office. Many of you know that Dawn is retiring. Dawn and Sam are retiring after 45 years of doing God's work. And there was a gentleman that arrived, he came out of prison yesterday, and he was very frenetic, 19 years. He has been in and out of prison, going through this, that, and the other thing, trying to get his life together. And he didn't know who he needed to go talk to, whether it was our industrial warehouse guy or whether it was Jen, our shelter person. And he was just frenetic. And I said, Chris, just stop for a second. Welcome to ARW. Find some rest here. We have another gentleman, Dylan, he's graduating tomorrow. What that means is he has spent, I asked him this morning, he has spent about over a year with us. He's probably heading into 14 or 15 months with us. And he has a good job, works third shift. He is graduating tomorrow. We graduated 19 gentlemen in 2024. Dylan, who's graduating tomorrow morning, has his own apartment. He's moving into his apartment today, and tomorrow will be his official first day sleeping at his apartment. And we're absolutely thrilled. It's truly wonderful to see these guys graduate and to walk into their independence and stability. We have another shelter. It's a men's 30-day short-term shelter, and that is probably the closest that we have to what our friends over at Code Blue does. It's 6 beds and it's an emergency men's shelter. There's not as much, I'll say, hullabaloo about that. It's a very transient type place, 6 beds, and it's only overnight. And so those guys that are staying with us in the transient room, they stay with us overnight, and they're usually very short term. They're just waiting for their apartment to come through. So having said all of that about our homeless shelters, I am going to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about our other program, which is food operations, which is really under fire right now. Our food pantry normally serves 1,000 families a month. That's about 100 families a day. We're open 5 days a week. The Central PA Food Bank is, they give us a state food purchase plan that we can purchase food, pennies on the dollar. With SNAP benefits being shut down and the federal government shut down, I'm pretty sure that Pennsylvania is the only state in the country right now that has this double whammy of a problem. I can tell you that our food pantry was absolutely bonkers yesterday. Like, unbelievably, the line wrapped around the building. It's evident that our community neighbors are feeling the results of the changes in the government-sponsored SNAP program. With SNAP benefits being partially administered, it will take time for the funds to come through. There is an extreme level of worry, deep concern, and panic among those that have come to our food pantry over the last 3 days. But the level of gratitude and thankfulness is unmatched during these days of uncertainty. Our community has come through for us. We have organizations all across this county raising money, raising food. What we have commissioned them to do a couple months ago, we started to really work with organizations, companies, small, big, large, everything in between. Don't just, get 2 cans of potatoes and 4 cans of red beets. We have directed them, gratefully so, to, okay, you're going to collect peanut butter and jelly. You're going to collect spaghetti and sauce. And so there's probably about 10 companies right now that are doing that for us. And those deliveries are going to start to come very soon. Gratefully so, because the numbers that we're serving, we have served over 300 families in the past week. 322 households, and we fed 823 people within just this 3-day work period this week. I have some information about resources where we're getting those food. Like I said, we're working with retailers, Giant, Walmart, Target, Wingers, Wegmans, Crumble, Cookies, and community food drives are filling in those holes and thumbs in the dike, if you will. The Central PA Food Bank is doing the best that they can. They're in the middle of their Hunger Can't Wait campaign, and any contributions that you can give can be designated to our account, specifically American Rescue Workers. These funds provide us the opportunity aforementioned to purchase food at 19 cents per pound. So I know we're here celebrating, bringing awareness to homelessness and homelessness. But the social determinants of health tell us that people need food and shelter, right? Those are the two primary components of what we're all, right? Code Blue, you guys are seeing it. UPMC is seeing it. UPMC now has a food bank in their emergency room. Who knew that? People are going to the emergency room, whether it's cold or hot outside, to get a bed and or food. And so they have started to give out emergency food boxes to those people who don't have food or shelter. So I want to thank you, county commissioners. You all have been so supportive to us over the years. I was just telling Ben, and I'm going to introduce him here in just a second. He asked me if I get nervous when I come up here to talk to you guys. And I said, no, it's like talking to my friends, right? Like, you guys are supportive, the whole entire community, and there's so many of us, the YW, the YM, Code Blue, Sojourner, Truth, Shepherd of the Streets, Family Promise. We all are doing this together. And it is because we all work together, and it's like working with our friends. It makes it very easy. And so with that, I want to end on a very positive, huge note. I want to introduce our new executive director. He's here with us today. He's on his fourth day. His name is Ben Hazen, and he will be our new executive director when Sam and Dawn retire here in 2026. And so if you could join me in giving Ben a welcome.
Morning, Ben.
Good morning. I'll just introduce myself briefly. My name is Ben Hazen. I've lived in Montoursville for the last 18 years and have had different opportunities to serve the community in that way. But now I'm taking on a new venture at the Rescue Workers, and I'm very excited about it. I'm looking forward to working with you in the near future. I know Mark a little bit because he's from our town as well, Scott as well. So thank you all for what you've done for us. They didn't wait to throw me into the mix. The last 3 days, I was helping serve all those meals she just mentioned, loading vehicles. So I was able to see firsthand those that were helping. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. So I don't think the public really recognizes or is aware that we do have a homeless problem in our county. And, they're used to seeing on the news, cities, or they've been to a city where they pass someone, inner cities where they pass someone who's on the street living, homeless. And they don't see that in Williamsport. But we do have a problem. And it's been outlined here today. And we're blessed to have the best in our community, you gentlemen. Whether you're working on an organization that's been around for 9 years or 15 years or 7 years, you're doing God's work. We're so thankful to have organizations, especially right now with the crises that are going on federal and state. But we have to get past that stereotype that people that are homeless, it's because of something they might have done. They might have had just unfortunate circumstances that came their way where they've lost everything. I think back 10 years ago, my son was over for the Macy's Day Parade in New York. And he was over there with my sister and brother-in-law and my nephew. And that night, my nephew and my son went over to catch a slice of pizza at one of the local pizza places. They saw a guy who was homeless outside the pizza place. So my son said, hey, Kurt, let's get him some food. So they got to talking to him. He was from the Williamsport area. He had lost everything. And he was so embarrassed, he moved to the city and he was living off the streets. So it can happen to anybody. So we have to reach out and help whatever way we can. And thank you for the sacrifices you folks are making. Because without you, these people would have nowhere to turn. So thank you. And I also want to give a plug to our controller who's doing a local food drive county-wide to try to help also. So thank you. Okay, commissioners?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that, is we hear when we talk about different businesses coming to our area or a solar farm or whatever, not in my backyard. This reminds me of the same thing, somewhat opposite. We believe this doesn't go on in our backyard. And it's easy for us that have nice lifestyles to pretend that doesn't go on in our backyard, but it does. And I think by making this awareness here today, by the vests and the blue code that they started, and American Rescue Workers that have been in our area for a long, long time, is just a reminder to people. We can't put our head in the sand and hope it goes away. It's a problem that we got to fix and help. And I always say I think I live in one of the best communities in this world, and Lycoming County does step up and help people. I witnessed it with the vests coming out to the church where the people were standing around waiting to get in. It was a cold, snowy night. We just got to remember that it's out there. And we got to continue as the good people of Lycoming County that we are to support these causes and make sure that we'll never end homelessness, I don't believe, but we sure as heck can make it better here in Lycoming County than other areas of this. So I thank everybody here today that has done their work in doing that. But we got to remind the public all day long, it is in our backyard.
One of the parts that was mentioned about people sleeping on couches and garages, and when we picture homelessness, we see people on the streets, but it's so much more than that. So much of it's hidden. I have a former friend, I guess, former coworker, who he was telling me a story right here in Williamsport when his boy was playing junior high basketball, and I was sitting with him at a game watching kids around, and we're talking about this kid's good and this kid whatever, and he said, oh yeah, he's a friend of my son's, and he said I often give these kids the rides home from practices and off the bus, and he said during this season I've taken that kid to 3 different homes. Like that they were living here, and now we're living with my aunt, or now we're living with here, and that's and again, in a lot of our worlds we grew up and we couldn't imagine that. We knew where our friends lived, and it didn't change from week to week and month to month and relationship to relationship. And I have a friend that I played football with back in the day, and he's a coach in an area that's not as affluent, and he said we have kids during our summer workout programs and his football boosters, and they have the pre-made meals, the Lunchables and those things that keep. And he says we have them in our locker room, and all I tell the kids is take what you need. And he said I don't know if they're taking them home to little brother. I don't know if they're taking them home for tomorrow. I don't ask. And then he said, when the cabinet runs out, I tell my boosters we need more. And he's like, God bless them. And they fill it up again. And that's what we do. And again, the same thing. We would leave football camp in the summer, and you got your morning practice, you go to lunch, and you just like, where are you going? Are you going somewhere? Are you going home? Nobody ever thought about a kid who didn't have lunch. And it is more of the reality. Those of us who are fortunate enough that didn't have it, that didn't see it, that didn't know it. So you people being here and bringing the awareness is the constant reminder of what we need, that it is out there. Now, the SNAP benefits in the news, people didn't even know what SNAP benefits were until now, and there's an awareness. So when you talk about the food desperation, no one is surprised. No one, especially when you look at the state budget and the federal budget. Again, like, God bless you for what you do. It seems like right now it's going to get better before it gets, or it's going to get worse before it gets better. And then with winter coming, and just the more awareness we can bring, the more compassion we can bring. It's a continuous fight, but I love how it's not, you provide just so much more than a bed, and trying to get people back on their feet, because that's what they want. And so many of them just need the opportunity. But some need the guidance as well, because depending on what situation you were brought up in, like Scott said, the good luck, bad luck of life, the bad luck of being born into an unstable situation. And this is kind of all they knew, that they were never taught those life skills at home the way we were. They just need that guidance as well to get them where they can be in society. So that's really the beauty of what you all do. So thank you for that.
And we hear the numbers, especially with kids, you know, you only have one childhood. So, you know, to have that experience as your childhood is unimaginable. And our veterans, we're getting ready to celebrate our veterans this week. You know, our country has to do better to take care of our veterans. Like they gave it everything for us. We have to do better. Take care of it now. For vets to have the rate of homelessness they have is inexcusable. Have the proclamations we like to give to you folks. I'll get a picture with you, so thank you.
The same picture, don't you think?
Yeah,
With all
absolutely, absolutely.
You guys
Come on up, guys.
You don't want the camera broke, do you?
It's slide it. Yeah.
Morning, guys.
For this gentleman here.
What's for?
So you're good. Probably good.
You're a bit all over the ground, just
Squish you a little bit.
a little sideways, maybe. Yeah, no, that's good, guys.
I can stay over on the left.
Hey. Everybody say cheese.
Feel like she's taking a picture with her jacket.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thanks so much. Thank you.
You said.
I was just fun.
Get in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if there's anyone out in the public that would like to volunteer that has the time,
We'll take them.
we'll take it. That was my plug for you. And rescue workers. There's many organizations that they're looking for volunteers, and we have 2 here today that glad to have the help. Yeah, they'll put you to work. Put you to work.
And if I can put the Best on the spot real quick. He's not listening. Mr. Best,
Mr. Best? Commissioner,
how do, I don't know how it happened, and my wife and I did it, but how do people sign up or bring you food?
I'll let Sue answer that question.
He'll let me
He'll let you
answer.
So what do they, what do our residents have to do to how would they contact you or how do
Contact
they?
the church
Okay,
or us personally. I also put a meal train on the internet. Code Blue Meal Train and ask for meals every other night from the beginning of January to the end of March. And within weeks, it's just a couple weeks, it's filled
okay.
every other night. And then there are places like Franco's will call and say, hey, I've got a rigatoni that we didn't use tonight. Can you use it? So we've got different people that, these gentlemen drop off a pot of chili or, whatever, barbecue or whatever. So
You do anything? Well, I'm sorry. What do you do for Thanksgiving? Is there a Thanksgiving?
we don't
Anything?
start until January.
Okay.
We do a hot meal
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day, and there's no advance sign up required. So people can just come and get a hot meal that day. They can take, it's a to go, so it's a drive through. If you have 5 people in your house, we'll give you 5 meals. It's a hot prepared meal that you can go home and eat then. And then our holiday food distribution, where we give out the food and you go home and prepare your own Christmas meal. That happens on December 19th. Again, no advance sign up required. And we'll feed about 800 families that day.
But same question though, how do the residents of Lycoming County donate to you for you to put that food out for them?
They can call our office, they can call into American Rescue Workers, they'll get directed to me, and I can help coordinate that drop off. And then we don't need volunteers quite as much as Code Blue, so I would really encourage residents of Lycoming County to, you know, if you're looking to volunteer and really give back, I mean, we need volunteers too, but I can honestly say that because Code Blue is a 100% volunteer ran organization, and you're really looking to make an impact because, you know, John and Sue are often the ones that are staffing it. And so they are sleeping 3, 4, 5 nights in a row in the basement at First Church. So, you know, I would encourage folks, if they are looking to volunteer, certainly give Code Blue a call.
So you're open from January on regardless of temperature, basically?
Yeah, the first year we decided 32 and below we would be open. And what happened is we ended up sitting around every day, all day saying, gee, what's the temperature going to be today? So now we're just open.
Okay.
You know, if it's 40 degrees and raining, people still need a place to sleep. It's warm and safe.
Now, do you have a website, codeblue.com?
Not yet.
Okay. And if you can leave a phone number when
I got
you,
it. I got it.
okay.
I'll be calling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports. Nikki,
Good morning.
morning.
Presented for your ratification are invoices due through November 12th, 2025, to be paid on November 5th, 2025, in the amount of $694,581.34, 86.99% out of the general fund, 6.73 out of RMS, and 6.28 out of escrow.
Okay, is there a motion?
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments for the controller? Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, no, you go ahead.
All fair side?
Aye.
I'd like to congratulate the controller on her new election.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard again.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure working with you. Forward to continue work.
Yeah, that was gonna be my comment. My comment wasn't on the vote or on the yay or nay. It was on, you know, congratulations to Nikki and I see Spiegel in the back. Congratulations to him as well. I'm sure you people were, you know, biting your nails since you were the only name on the ballot.
It's still stressful.
Okay, listen, it's more stressful when you have competitors. I can speak from that. But what we're excited for is that, you know, not only your experience, but and your willingness to take on the responsibility, but we obviously know you two and we work with you two. And as you know, we sit in these meetings and this stuff is hard. It's not, you know, today is like we get to come and we get to acknowledge these groups and celebrate these groups. But when we get into kind of the back rooms with the budgets and the things that you deal with and the things that the sheriff's office deal with, you know, sometimes this stuff is not easy and there are no good solutions and we're trying to find good solutions when they don't exist. And when we do that, it just helps to have people in the room who are kind of like all for one and one for all. And we are blessed to have you two to stay on with us because you guys are part of that team. You know, we never go into a meeting with you guys and think, oh, now here we go. Like we go into a meeting and thinking that we can kind of solve some of the ills that we have. And we thank you both for that.
Thank you.
It would have been better if you had to sweat a little bit the other night.
Thank you. Congratulations to Chief Spiegel also.
Thank you.
By the way, Spiegel, we heard you had like 98%, she had 97%. Is that, you were the winner, I guess?
But who's counting?
Well, but who spent more money?
I used to have 99%.
Who got 99%?
I got 9%.
You did, whatever.
Was there cake? I didn't get any cake.
What's
There's been no party.
Jennifer, is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Want to make sure that if you had anything else, you don't want to skip over you.
Nope, I already was at the lectern, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mike.
Good morning. Approve the following personnel actions as conditional offers of employment, subject to the successful completion of a background check and all other employment conditions as outlined here in attachment A. We have two. Prison, Mitchell Tree Billy. This is a promotion to sergeant / training coordinator, pay grade 10, full-time at 29.398414 cents per hour. 80 hours per pay period, effective date November 9, 2025. And then in the pre-release center, Squires Robert as a work crew foreman / PRC, pay grade 8, full-time, 23.6436 cents per hour, 80 hours per pay period with an effective date November 9, 2025.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Motion to accept personnel actions.
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, I'm going to speak on behalf of Maya. Action item 5.1, vote to approve the agreement with Celeste Trustee. It's a 2025 approved budget item. And this is for services, mitigation services for cases assigned by the chief public defender on an as-needed basis. The contractor shall be compensated at $85 per hour for such services, a total which shall not exceed $2,500.
okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hey, Kristen,
Yes, Commissioner.
thank you.
Action item 5.2 is the subrecipient agreement amendment number 1 with the YWCA. This is to extend the agreement from December 31st of this year till June 30th of next year, 2026, as well as change the name of the project from the YWCA electrical upgrades to the YWCA building upgrades, and increase the scope and not budget of the project, but just the scope to include kitchen renovations as well.
And this came out of the ARPA.
Electrical, the electrical upgrades came in significantly less than expected, the bids, and so that project is actually wrapping up here pretty soon, and so the rest of those funds can go to this.
Okay, good. And this is from the ARPA funds.
Correct.
Thank you. All right, very good. Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side. Aye. Aye. Thank you, Kristen. And again, thank you for all your work on the ARPA budget. You and CEDACOG, you guys have done an amazing job on this. We appreciate
We're
working
trying
with the
to do
county.
our best and serve the residents of Lycoming County.
And you can see again, we're using these funds to help agencies and things that are generational. So thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. As you know, the roundabout, we designated an amount of money because they had an electrical issue at the YW. And they got done, they fixed the electrical problem and had money left. So that's why we had to restructure it so they could now spend on the kitchen, which, you know, in today's world, you don't usually get the projects done and have money left over. So that's kind of a blessing that we just stumbled into.
It was completely unexpected, but I believe the kitchen renovations are also being partially funded with CDBG funds as well, so we're able to leverage funds for that.
That's great.
Yep.
Good way to leverage money.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Leslie,
Thanks, you too.
so you here?
She's not here.
She's not here. She's on vacation. I thought maybe step in. I can read.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, action item 5.3, vote to approve the Lycoming County Phone System Annual Support Renewal with Mitel in the amount of $14,277.28. And this is a 2025 approved budgeted item.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Every year, Lycoming County, is blessed to have a parade for the veterans, and this year it's in Montgomery. So it'll start 2 p.m. over in Montgomery, and we urge the public to, if they have time to come over, and participate in the parade and thank and welcome our veterans and we'll be there. We look forward to every year. It's great how the communities come together and honor the veterans. So this year it's Montgomery's turn and we look forward to it.
That's Saturday.
Saturday,
Right, it's not.
Saturday at 2 o'clock. And then I know some veteran services next Tuesday. I know there's one in Matorsville at 11 a.m. at the cemetery. They do a really nice job down there in honor of veterans. There's some other ones throughout the community, but the one I know for sure is Matorsville one at 11 a.m. So again, if you see a veteran, just thank them every day. Just thank them. A lot of times they have a hat on, or you might know them personally. Take a second and thank them. So what they did is can't thank them enough. So they're full of wisdom. I've sat and talked to some of the veterans, and I've experienced. I've been overseas, and the wisdom that you gain from their conversations is something you'll take with you for the rest of your life. Anyone have anything?
I would add to that for the veterans that if anybody is not aware, we do have a full Veterans Services office here in the 3rd Street Plaza, which is 33 West 3rd Street in downtown Williamsport. So if you have struggles as a veteran, you do have a place to come. It is a great group of people down there. They're on the 2nd floor. So if you have any issues or concerns as a veteran, please utilize that office that is available to you on a weekly basis. The other thing I would like to thank the residents of Lycoming County. We did our job again. Voters were out in large amounts on Tuesday. Every one of the precincts that came in basically said they were just as busy as a presidential election term, which is amazing. For us here, typically your midterms, you drop out into a 25, maybe 30% voter turnout. I think we were in the mid 40% turnout, which is great. So I'd like to thank all the voters of Lycoming County for coming out. It is the time we get to voice our opinion and our direction that we want this country to go in. So, I know it was good for Nikki and Eric that there was no opponents, but it's nice when there's opponents too, because it gives people choices, but it's all right. Guys. But it gives people choices, but
Not everyone agreed.
Not everyone agreed with that, too, but it is great. I will also recognize we have Terry Lockley in our audience, who is a newly elected township supervisor. So, new people come out, learn a little bit of politics, dive in, and so she's jumping in as well. I think there were a lot of new people on the ballot this year, so I congratulate everybody that did win and look forward to interacting wherever we do interact with each other. Of course, I always got to say a little bit something about finance. And I had some conversations this week of, are we as a board doing things too quick or too fast when it comes to the budget here in Lycoming County? What I wanted to say to that real quick, because I'm sure that there are people out there that will be saying we're doing that. We unfortunately are stuck in an emergency situation. The fund balance, which to us is the savings account to all of us at home. Our savings account has been dwindled, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but previous administrations have had the luxury of balancing their budget by using the fund balance monies. That's great when you have 20, 30, 40 million. We're down to less than 4 million. Legally, we probably should have closer to 9 million because we're supposed to have 90 days worth of finances in our savings account. So we are doing things quickly. We got to cut our budget quickly. We got to make changes within the county quickly. I know it's painful. I know people don't want to believe it because they see some other numbers. So when you're looking at county funds and you think, oh, well, they got all this Act 13 money. We can't put that in our general fund. We can't use that to balance our budget. We use that for safety items. We use that for giveaways. The ARPA money is coming to an end, but again, we could never use the ARPA money in our general fund. There are monies put away at the landfill. They are there strictly for DEP. A lot of us are old enough to go back to the coal days, and the coal mines didn't put any money away for any damage they did to the environment. Today, DEP does not allow that in this country. So we have to have the money set aside in case there's an error. Say something goes wrong. There's a fire at the landfill. There's a leakage at the landfill. So those monies cannot be spent. They can also not be put to the general fund. So if you see that you think there's money that the county has and us three commissioners are lying, saying we're broke, the monies are designated monies that have nothing to do with the general fund balance. We have to have, it's the law that we have to have a balanced budget. Like I say, in previous years, we were able to say, oh, we used our fund balance or our savings account to cover that balance. But that's gone. And we really have to have a true balanced budget. The three of us told you we would do that when we got elected. The three of us are going to do that, and we're going to get this county in that shape permanently. And we hope to be the generation that starts putting money back in the fund balance. As I said to our department heads a few weeks ago, we don't want to be the generation that spent grandma's savings. We got to put it back. And that's our goal. So we're going to get it balanced, and we're going to be able to put something back in the fund balance, not this year, maybe not next year, but eventually we're going to get to a point where we can start putting some money back. But I just wanted to touch upon that because I think it's so important for the residents of the county to understand it's not that we're rushing to make changes, it's that we have to make these changes.
You know, we've had a budget that has grown over the years. You say, well, we get grants, we get this from the state, we get this from the feds, and those monies aren't coming in right now. However, some of those monies have dried up, and people ask me about it, and I said, well, this year we had a $128 million budget. We get taxes of about 38 million. So where's the other 90 million come from? And you know, the capital projects that have been paid for out of the fund balance were put out on a bond. And it's something we have to change going forward. When the state, those federal monies dried up, the positions the county kept. So now the county taxpayers are paying for those positions 100%. And I shared a small example when I started probation back in the mid-80s. There was a law that the state was supposed to fund probation salaries 80% across the state. It was never at 80% of the law. When I started 66%, it's down, I believe, 12%. So the county picks up the rest of those salaries. Now, that's public safety. So you got to have a delicate balance. You don't want to cut public safety. So that's just one example. There's so many different factors that have contributed into this depletion of the fund balance over the years. We got to get back to, we got to decrease that. Government grown too much, and the service has grown too much. And can't provide certain things we might have once been able to provide. We're going to have to cut back on them. And those are the hard decisions that we're making right now because the monies are not there anymore. Because the feds and the state, they don't have it either, and they've cut it. Right now, with no budget on either end, it's worse than ever. So these are the very difficult decisions that we're having to face that are basically keeping us up because they affect lives. So it's not a good time to be. I said this budget is worse than when I came in and we had the COVID situation. This budget's even worse because we don't know what to expect. So we need to work together. The main thing is we have a team here working on it. Blessed with that team and they're thinking outside the box to solve this crisis.
I'd like to thank the people from Code Blue and the American Rescue Workers. Usually we give people proclamations and then they run out the door. And you guys actually sat and listened to us ramble on for the whole meeting. So I don't know if you knew you were allowed to do that, but we appreciate you paying attention. You know, as we talk about the election, we had a historic week here in Lycoming County. And we have a changing of the guard with our president judge as Nancy Butts was voted not to be retained. I think it's the second time in Lycoming County history. And yeah, I have a friend that I have debates with a lot of times. And one of the things he's reminded me a lot of is that two things can be true at the same time. And Nancy's become kind of he had a lot of publicity this year for instances where she seemed to be soft on criminals that seem violent or dangerous. And you know, to lots of us, there were some times that rulings came down and left us head scratching, no matter what side of the aisle we were on. And I think certainly that is one of the things that led to the fact that she didn't get retained after all these years. On the other side, Nancy was the champion behind treatment court and veterans court. And these are programs that have been in existence here in Lycoming County that have literally rescued people in their lives. And you know, there's a nervousness around in certain parts of the community now that she is not going to be here, if they're going to stay. And we certainly hope they stay, because it has been the statistics just show the people who it has helped. I've spoken at their graduation ceremonies. The lowering of the recidivism rate, because the goal of corrections is to get people out of the system and to get people back on their feet. And with treatment court and veterans court, it has been way more successful than just the old system. So you know, as guards change, we hope that we remember the positive as well as the negative, and that changes aren't made just to be made. Because I think when I speak to these groups, and GEO is the program that really that walks the people through after they've been incarcerated and they've been released. And I tell the GEO staff, you know, Scott's been here for a long time and he worked in that field. And he said when GEO showed up, he was like, I don't understand why we have this program. And then after seeing the success of it, now he's like, now I understand why we have this program and it works. So we certainly hope that continues on, even as she doesn't, because there's that section of the society that has benefited greatly. And when they benefit, we all benefit.
Thank you. Public comment, anyone from the audience? Morning, Mr. Winder.
How are you?
Good.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. My name's Todd Winder, Chief of the Clinton Township Fire Department, and also President of the West Branch Firemen's Association. I have two issues to discuss with you this morning. One is, of course, the resignation of the Director of Public Safety that came about Monday. I understand you're going to appoint an interim director and seek out another director. I would ask on behalf of the West Branch, and as we did before when Mr. Hutchins was hired, that you allow Chief Spiegel and the chairman or president of the LTS Council for EMS, Police and Fire to sit in on the interviews and ask questions as we did before. As you know, we need strong leadership out there. There's hundreds of firefighters, police, and EMS responders in this county that rely on that place out there working to its fullest potential. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus from before, but when we interviewed before with myself and John Orr, and I think the director, or the head of EMS, and Sheriff Mark Luss sat in on the interviews. I think some on the Board of Commissioners were pretty certain of one individual, and it ended up that he was maybe extremely qualified in the eyes of the commissioners. We didn't necessarily have a full understanding of police, fire, and EMS, and we kind of steered towards Mr. Hutchins with his experience and qualifications. I'm sorry to see him go. I don't know the reason, and it's really not important, but I just want to stress that we get the right person out there, because as you know, the critical state of fire and EMS that we're in the county and the country, we need good people. So I would ask that when you do these interviews, you once again allow some of these leaders from the 3 different organizations, agencies within the county to sit in on them, ask questions, and maybe help guide you guys to make another good selection. I think Jeff was the best selection of any of them that interviewed at the time, and he was certainly the most qualified and had the most experience. And as I said, personally, I'm very sorry to see him go. And at first, to be honest, I was quite against him. And a lot of fire departments were like, well, you guys can't support him. And we went back and said he was the most qualified. He checked all the boxes. So again, I'm sorry to see him go, but I'm just asking that you allow police, fire, and EMS, like the sheriff, myself, and the director of the LTS Council, to sit on these interviews and ask questions and give our feedback to you. And ultimately, it's your decision, but we hope we can help guide you guys to make the right decision.
Well, I'll say, and I wasn't here the last time that Scott was here, but we want to make the right decision as well. And I think one of the strengths of this board I think there are times of our lacks of ego that we know what we don't know. And we will rely heavily on the information brought to you by people like the sheriff's department and the fire departments. And because we want to get it right. And it's not about us making a call. It's about us making the right call.
And I think we did with Mr. Hutchins. I honestly think we did. And for whatever reason, he's moved on or decided to leave the position. That's neither here nor there. What's important is that we get the right person to fill that and keep trying to move the Department of Public Safety forward. We're in the middle of this big radio project and, a new CAD system. We're short of dispatchers, telecommunicators. We need to, I don't want to say he's sinking the ship, because he's not, but the ship has not sailed correctly for many, many years. And I thought we were on the way to righting the ship and having a good service with the county. We're very forward, very progressive in this county with police, fire, and EMS. And I just want to see that continue. The second issue or item that I want to bring up is the budget. I understand I have the same problem. I have close to $500,000 budget in my fire department, and tax money that comes in is, I think the fire tax brings in $80-some thousand. So we have to generate the rest of that any way, shape, or form. Mr. Sortman, I will throw you under the bus. If there's money available set aside to help pay for fires at the landfill, we've had 5 there this year and I haven't seen a dime for it. So if that money's sitting around somewhere, please let me know how we can
That's a
get it.
DEP issue. That is not a Lycoming County that we can choose to spend that money. where
Well,
we
like I
choose
said,
to. That's DEP's money. It has
You have
nothing to do
been-
with us. That was my point of that conversation.
Yeah,
Those are.
I
not-
understand, but you mentioned fire, so I just got to throw that in there. But
I can reassure you, there's no money sitting
yeah,
around.
the last fire that was out there, we're very fortunate that it was noticed as quick as it was, and the teamwork, or it was in a part of the pile where that could have been another 3-day fire like happened in my younger days. And I don't ever want to see that. So again, with the budget, I know the budget is tight. West Branch was not funded the last 2 years, and I addressed that several months ago. We submitted our budget request for this, and just recently, I just want to press the issue how important it is to fund West Branch Firefighters or Firemen's Association. We represent every fire department in Lycoming County, Sullivan County. We are the advisory board to the commissioners for matters with Department of Emergency Services. And we found out recently that HAC, the Harrisburg Area Community College, who basically provides all the training for fire departments in the county, has changed the policy or their way of providing these classes. We used to buy packages of so many training hours. The West Branch would buy a package. It was worth so many hundreds of hours of classes. And we have a training committee that departments say, I need this class. I need this refresher, hazmat refresher. I need an essentials class. I need a pump operators class. And some of them are 16 hours. Some of them are hundreds of hours. But instead of having this package that we could assign hours from it and pay for it collectively, HAC has now went to a $30 per student, $30 per seat. So a 16-hour class with 20 people and is going to cost us $600. These training packages of several hundreds of hours cost us $1,200 to $1,500. and we typically purchase 4 of them a year. We will be out of money in a heartbeat trying to do training, and it'll have to go back to where the fire departments will have to expend money to have these classes at their stations. They'll end up being closed classes where other departments can't share. And I'm concerned, I mentioned it last night, the Muncie Area Mutual Aid Association, which is the East End Fire Departments, that I'm not sure how, as the chairman of West Branch, we're going to address this if we don't have funding for it. And I'm concerned that there are some fire departments in this county that may not have the assets or the abilities that some other departments have, will not be able to pay for training for 20 of their people for several 16-hour classes. And we're required to have certain classes every year for every member of the department, refreshers. And we've been picking up that tab for the past decade or better with West Branch monies and monies that the commissioners fund us with. We've been very good at that. I haven't talked to my vice chairman or the secretary yet. I've talked to some of the chiefs. My phone's been blowing up over this resignation and stuff, but I don't know what we're going to do. We have to figure it out because our budget's very limited. We're very low on funds right now from lack of funding. And I hope that you can find, if you're cutting the budget, please don't cut West Branch. We need every penny that you can give to make sure we train these firefighters and new firefighters adequately and be able to respond to emergencies. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Yes, Mr. Stout.
Yes, Larry Stout. Just Montgomery. I want to put in an attaboy for Judge Butts, because I think a lot of people are looking at the now, but it was probably maybe 10, 12 some years ago. She was concerned very much about the heroin issues in our county, and got together about 100 people at the what do they call it? The Community Arts Center. And she just said, we ought to do something about this. And so what she came up with this idea is that, okay, here's faith-based, here's business, here's medical, law enforcement, et cetera. And we all had our own little groups, do whatever you wanted, just make it happen. She, and what really surprised me is she had a whole bunch of food. She said, here, I want you to have this. I mean, she did a lot of extra things. I don't know how else to put it. She wasn't a director of this thing. She was the creator of it and got us together. And that went on for several years. Now it went downwards, and I don't want to get into what happened there, but I just through the years, and when I was in twice, I was in a time when she was had a person that I knew, and she was, I don't know, very open. She was trying to help the person that was in this situation. It was going to get punished and for it, but in the same way, she was always trying to understand how the person got there and what could we do to prevent that. So I just felt like, to be honest, when I was seeing all the things in the paper, et cetera, it really, I just think a lot of these people never really met her or knew her. And I'm not, granted, the judge is always going to have people that don't like them. But in my experience, I think she doesn't deserve to be kicked to the side. I think she did a lot of good things, as you mentioned, all those different organizations she organized out of it. So anyway, I just wanted to put in a comment about that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Any online?
I have several online, and I just want to preempt this with, I'm going to read these probably out of order so they make a little bit more sense. And I will be omitting direct digs at other people. So, but all of this will be online within the minutes when those come out. Okay, so the first comment from Blair Stewart. God bless Lycoming County. I was homeless for years until Grace Street Church took me in around 2016. Thank you. It's sad when people are too good to help others. That's what's sad. Also Blair Stewart, it ain't my job to judge who needs a sandwich. I just provide the sandwich when I can. Thank you for that. That's certainly wonderful. That's what we do as a community. Thomas Adams, good morning, Lycoming County. It's sad when people look to government for sustenance. They then become susceptible to living a life of dependency on the state, not a life of independence. Government programs are easily abused and not nearly as efficient as Christian organizations. Praise the Lord for Lycoming County's support of our local organizations such as ARW. Most effective programs for people to change their lives from desperation and despair to hope and confidence are our Christian-based programs, which include accountability and mentoring for people to learn how to overcome their fears and personal challenges and move forward to life, light, and liberty, which are only found in the personal relationship with Jesus Christ, as our founders well understood. I do think there is a place for the state to supply supports in emergency and extreme situations, even basic sustenance needs, not wants and desires. Christian-based organizations are more efficient with 90% plus of their funds going directly to those in need. Most 95+% government programs are around the 40% mark for direct aid. Thank you for your dedication to Lycoming County. May God bless Lycoming County and may God bless America. And then from Harper Will Try, thank goodness we've progressed our environmental protection beyond some of the errors of our predecessors. Here's to hoping we continue to remember we only borrow our land, water, and air from our descendants. And well said, Mark. Nancy's keen mind and fair heart will be missed. She was a champion for combating recidivism. And then the last comment from Mr. Thomas Adams. Another thought, government programs tend to enable poor life choices, even illegal activities. Well-run Christian organizations work to not be enablers of such activities. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
I think to kind of piggyback on what Tom just said, yes, it's unfortunate when people look to government programs for support where most of us look for support from the day we're born is to family. And it's some of these people who either were born into a struggling family or don't have the family, and then they have nowhere else to turn. And that's where government or these programs come in. That's the unfortunate part.
Okay, thank you. We've completed our agenda, so we will be adjourned at this time and reconvene